Growing up like that, did you feel like you had to hold like a certain standard as a young adult or a teenager, like in school, or did you kind of say, "Man, I'm good. I know who God is. I'm going to kind of do my thing and go from there."
Oh, dude, I was a halfway guy all the time,
Mm,
right? So I said, God, you can have this half of me, but this half of me is going to do what I want to do. I'm going to chase women. I'm going to drink underage. I'm going to do drugs. I'm going to steal. But, on Sundays, you can have that half of me,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
I was a big halfway guy. And what I realized recently, I'm going to say within the last 7, 8 years, is how fragile this quote unquote faith that I had. It was more
Mm,
ritual than it was feeling.
yeah, yeah. I can relate
Uh,
to that.
it was something that I thought I should be doing.
Hmm.
I don't want to go to hell. I mean, you and I talked about this on my show.
Yeah,
I don't want to go to hell, so I'm going to go do this. But he can have half of me. He just can't have all of me.
yeah.
So I was a little, forgive my French here, but I was a little asshole as a kid. All right. I grew up in a very, very toxic household, very abusive household. So I, um, I found there was unhealthy forms of outlets. I
Mm,
was a bully in school. I was a thief when I was a teenager. I just did awful, rotten things because when you have no power at home, you have no peace. To bring it
hmm.
home to your podcast name,
There you go.
you had no power at home, so I'm gonna exert power over somebody that I see that's less than me, and
Yeah.
maybe that'll make me feel a little bit better, and for a short time it does, but it's not sustainable, okay? Because what you're doing is you as you start to mentally mature, you realize I'm just perpetuating the behavior that I hate. I'm
Hmm.
becoming what I hate, and that's what I did, and that's I bullied this poor kid so bad, that after he left school, it took me 30 years to track him down, to apologize to him, to make amends. It took me
Wow.
30 years.
Wow.
But, my faith was just so fragile that, one little pop in my life and my faith just fell apart.
I think that's pretty common though, man, especially growing up when you're in a ritualistic type environment in a church. You kind of feel like, yeah, I'll go to church, but I still want to do what the other kids are doing, or I want to do what the world's doing. 'Cause, I mean, it's hard. And they say, I heard a stat a couple years ago that like 70% of kids that grow up in a youth group in church never come back to church. And I totally understand that because it's
Where
an unrealistic type of standard, I think, that's set on kids.
when the best statistic that I heard is when the parents, specifically the father,
Hmm.
specifically a child's father, is seen being active in church and really giving his life over to Christ, it's something like in the high 90s that kid will continue going to church. The
Hmm.
mother is like 50, 60%. I'm not crapping on mothers,
No,
but
no.
it's not as strong as a father figure. They're the
Yeah.
leader of the house. And I watched this in real time with my two boys. I was going to church I rediscovered my faith in 2021. And I was going to church religiously every week, and I really just I felt it, like it filled me up. And then one day my oldest son goes, "Hey Dad, I would always ask him, but I wouldn't push him into it. I'd say, 'Hey guys, you want to come to church?' 'No, okay, that's fine.' And I go to church. One day my oldest comes to me and says, he's about 12 years old at the time, and he says, 'Hey Dad, you going to church on Sunday?' I said, 'Of course.' And he goes, 'You mind if I come with you?' I was like, 'That would be awesome.' And it was our thing for like 6 months. And I would ask my youngest if he wanted to come, and my youngest would say the same thing, until one day he goes, 'Hey Dad, you going to church?' Same thing, same exact thing. And now me and my boys, that's like, we walk into church, the three of us, as a family.
That's awesome, man.
They know it's the Donaldsons are coming in.
That's awesome.
And my son, is my youngest one especially, is so tied into his faith. He does a TikTok every single night where
Mm.
he'll take a verse from the Bible, and he'll interpret it through a 13-year-old's eyes.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Kevin's jumping up here. Don't wait, dude.
Stop it, Kevin.